Hey tribe, welcome back. In this video, this is part two to a video I did about, I told an amazing story about Aang and myself and how manifesting works when there's an antagonist involved. Now, the antagonist in the story was me because I didn't want it, okay? Like we've all experienced that we want something, but there's big boulders, there's circumstances in our life going on, and those circumstances like is a boulder for us, it's a block for us, like it stops us in our tracks, and we think we can't have the life we want. We think we can't have our dream house or dream car because the circumstances around it, we just don't see how we can get through these circumstances. And sometimes it's an antagonist, like it's somebody else, it's a significant other, it's a parent, it's a sibling, a brother, sister, it's a husband, it's a wife, or it's somebody we're dating, we're living with, and that is the person that we feel it's standing in our way and it's blocking what we want in our life. It's blocking us from becoming the most successful version of us, or it's blocking us just from something we're trying to manifest. And lots of times it stops us in our tracks. We stop, we throw in a towel. And in this video, we're really gonna dig deep and don't stop. Okay, it's just a sign, that's all it is. So lo and behold, let's jump onto the computer. I put my handy dandy glasses on here and we'll start dissecting the story a little bit. Now, the biggest point, the biggest takeaway here right away, what we have to understand is with our imagination, I'll get the highlighter going, is that we have to understand is that our imagination doesn't argue, okay? It just reorganizes the events, okay? Remember, even we've been going through a lot of Neville Goddard right now. We've been going through a lot of Neville Goddard books right now. And one of the things that even Neville Goddard said, everything is effortless. Nothing takes effort. Your imagination doesn't take no effort. Okay, when you do these manifesting techniques, it takes no effort. Once you try to force something to happen, remember, force negates. Okay, physical force negates. Okay, mental force negates. Mental manipulation negates. Any type of friction repels everything from you. That's what you have to understand. But also what you have to understand, your imagination doesn't argue. Okay, it doesn't go up against your circumstances and fight your circumstances. What does it do? It goes around it. Okay, that's the power of your imagination of what you have to kind of walk away with. But I want you to keep with me here. This is a fantastic lesson on when you have circumstances going on in your life and you feel those circumstances blocking what you want. Listen, in my story is Aang didn't try to convince me. Remember what I said. I'm not retelling a story here, but Aang wanted to put up a gate, a driveway gate, okay? And I didn't want it, okay? Bottom line, I was the one paying for it, whatever. I said no, and I didn't want it at all. So within the story, Aang didn't try to convince me. She just basically accepted it, okay? She didn't debate with me. She didn't push back. She didn't try to argue. She didn't try to emotionally blackmail me into wanting the gate. Okay. She just basically accepted I said no. Because remember my story, from time to time, I would go outside, Aang would be sitting right out here. And she would be staring off like in the direction of the road. And I would be like, but what are you doing? And she would say, oh, no, I'm just like thinking about the gate right there. That's all she would say. Okay. But see what she was doing without her realizing it, she was visualizing the gate. She was in her imagination, just sitting there, looking in her imagination, looking at the gate and acting as if living in the end. Okay. That's what she was doing. Okay. She was more like an unconscious competent, what Bob Proctor would say. Okay. Now, unconscious competent is somebody that's very successful, but they don't know why they're successful. But we can flip it to manifesting. Okay. Somebody's manifesting, things are coming into their life, but they don't know really why they're coming into their life. You understand? It's just working for them. So that's what's kind of the picture you need to have with Aang. Okay. So, but she did one thing that actually matters in a Neville's world. Okay, with the law of assumption. Remember a law of assumption. Whatever you assume to be true for you has to manifest in your world, has to come to you. Okay, it has to be proven to you. She accepted it as done in her imagination. That's one thing she did. She accepted it as done in her imagination. Now, I'm not even joking. From time to time, I would just see her sitting out there staring in the direction of the road, and I would say, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "Oh, I was just, we need a gate there." You know what I mean? She's just sitting in her imagination, thinking. She's in her imagination. And what we have to understand is once that happens, the law doesn't go. The laws of the universe, the law of assumption, okay, the laws of imagination, whatever we want to call it, the law doesn't go, okay, let's fight with Chad until he gives in. How many of us do that? I mean, really, okay, we have a spouse, we have a significant other. How many of us, we try to fight with our spouse in order to get what we want, okay? And sometimes we get what we want. Most of the time we probably don't, because remember, when you're trying to force something to happen, it causes friction. Friction just repels everything from you. Okay? But the laws of the universe, it pretty much goes, cool. We have a finished picture. Now let's quietly rearrange everything, including Chad, to match this. Okay, that's what the imagination really does. Remember, it doesn't fight. It doesn't fight opposition. It goes around it, and most of the time it uses the opposition in order to fulfill what you want. But it uses it in a unique way. You see, my resistance became part of the script, not to block it. I became part of the path of Aang's imagination to make it happen for her. But she was the one imagining having the gate. I was the antagonist. I was the one that said no, and I would just say no and walk away. Okay. Basically the conversation's done. You know what I mean? But the deeper meaning is when a state is fully assumed, reality doesn't fight opposition, it uses it. This is what you have to understand. When a state is fully assumed, what is it? What's an assumption? What's the law of assumption here for a second? It's whatever you assume to be true has to come to you. Okay. Once Aang had the assumption of, I want a gate, she sat in her imagination, not knowing she was doing it, and started visualizing a gate there. And that became true for her. Okay. Once it became true, the universe has to make it happen. But it doesn't fight opposition, because here's me, I'm the opposition. It doesn't fight me. It just goes around me. Okay. But it goes around me kind of uniquely. Remember, if there's an antagonist, now the antagonist could be circumstances in your life that you've seen that are just great big roadblocks. It could be other people. It could just be circumstances, things happening. Okay, listen, you have to look at it as it's just a prop in a scene. You have to look at your life, your 3D world, as like a movie scene. You can change it. You can alter it. You have to look at things just as props. Okay, you just go around it. You understand? But most of the time, when we have a circumstance happen, we let it become a great big roadblock in our life. It totally stops us, and we focus on it. Sometimes we focus on it for days, weeks, months, sometimes years. Sometimes we let that roadblock literally stop us, and we start to believe that we can't have the life that we want, the life of our dreams. We can't live life on our terms. Okay, just look at things. Things are just props in your 3D world. Now, number two, what we have to understand is everyone is you pushed out in real life. What do I mean by that? Like in Neville's language, this right here actually comes from a paragraph. I think this is chapter 4 in Out of This World by Neville Goddard, is everyone is you pushed out. So in this book, it really explains that everyone is you pushed out. So what do I mean? You see, people in your world reflect states of consciousness, yours and theirs. Remember, law of consciousness, everybody's interlinked. Then we have to realize they aren't independent random agents. They're not independent from you. They're not separate from you. Okay? They're how your assumption plays out. You have to understand your assumption, what you want, what you desire, everything plays a part. Everything plays a part in your life, okay? Everything that's for you and everything against you has a part in it, Hey friends, just a quick little intermission here. We'll jump right back to the video. But if you're really trying to figure this stuff out, if you're really trying to live life on your terms, you really need to check out the description, because in the description is where I keep all the nuggets and all the resources. If you're new here, start right here. We got stuff like the power drops, which is totally free, by the way. We got the 30-day challenge. And of course, if you want to be part of the tribe, the link is here. And if you want to try to work with me, the link is right here as well. Like I said, my friends, if you really want to try to make this stuff happen, if you really want to live life on your terms, always keep up to date with the description, because that's where all the nuggets are. Other than that, let's get back to the video. Now, in my story, Aang's state is that the gate exists. It's done. That's what she was imagining. See, me in that moment is, I don't want it. I don't want the gate. We're not going to put up a gate. I'm not going to pay for it. Bottom line. Okay, that was me. So what does the law do? What does the laws of the universe do? If imagination creates reality, what does it do? It doesn't pick sides. Listen, it harmonizes by creating a bridge of incidents. Okay, meaning it's using Aang's state, and it's using me also because I'm the opposition. It doesn't say that, well, Aang, I'm going to decide with Aang because that's what you should do, and then Chad's wrong. It doesn't do that. It uses both. So, for example, it harmonizes by creating a bridge of incidents where, listen to this. Now, if you knew my story, you would know. And I'll change the color here to green. Now, all of a sudden, puppies come into the picture. Like Lucky and Money are puppies. They're about 3 months old now. You know, the puppies start going to the road. Okay, going to the road. We don't have a gate. You kind of know where this is going. Okay, now for me, okay, safety becomes a real issue. It's undeniable issue because, you know, it's just a matter of time. They go to the road, they run in the road, run across the street. The road isn't too trafficky, but again, Thai people drive faster than they should most of the time on these roads. So it's just not a good scenario. Okay. Then all of a sudden, you know, I naturally say, this is true. This is a true story. I naturally say, all of a sudden out of the blue, I wake up one day, we should build the gate so the puppies are safe. You see, I literally went from, no, we're not getting it. We're not doing the gate. No. Okay. To, we should build a gate to keep the puppy safe. You see how her imagination and the law, okay, it doesn't fight me. It just uses, it aligns. That's what it means. And Neville Goddard, this is kind of Neville Goddard language. Neville Goddard actually talks like this in his books. You know, it's a bridge of incidents. You know what I mean? It's basically a bridge, and it's using certain incidents to kind of convince that antagonist that we should get it. Okay. And all these incidents kind of play a part. For me, I'm the one that says, hey, let's build the gate. Let's keep the puppy safe. Okay. So from your 3D view, from your 3D world, it looks like I changed my mind. Okay. You know, that's why kind of like when Neville Goddard talks about power over awareness, becoming aware, that's why I'm doing this video, because after everything was said and done, we're actually building the gate right now. Okay, we're about a week into it. But that's why I became aware of, holy crap, like this happened. Okay. It looks from a natural eye, it just looks like, well, Chad changed his mind. But why did I change my mind? Okay. You know, from a 4D world, now our 4D is our imagination. Our 4D is consciousness. Okay, from that perspective, I was moved into alignment with the assumption already accepted. Okay, now what was assumption already accepted? This is Aang's assumption. She went on the gate. She assumed it to be true. And I was just moved into alignment with it. And it created circumstances around it for me to be aligned with it. You understand what's happening? I, the antagonist, I didn't want it, became the delivery system. That's everyone is you pushed out in motion. Aang's inner world selected a scene where you had to become the one who says yes. Isn't it so true? And she did this, again, she kind of did this automatically. She don't, again, we manifest no matter we know it or not, no matter we're aware of it or not. Everybody's manifest things, okay? Everything in your life is manifested. It all comes from your imagination, no matter if you like it or you don't. You understand? Now, number 3 here, what we have to understand is resistance isn't a block. It's kind of weird when I wrote it. It's raw material. But let's just focus on resistance isn't a block. Okay. Lots of times we look at resistance, we look at circumstances, and we think it's a sign from God to quit. We look at it like it looks like a giant hill, giant mountain, and we look at it as all, maybe it's too hard, I'll just give up. Okay, we look at resistance as so much of as a negative, but if you start realizing that you can bend reality, you start kind of realizing that your world, your 3D world is a simulation. You can alter it, you can change it, you can change events that you don't like. Okay, you start looking at resistance, you start looking at circumstances, you start looking at just simple things. You go out in your car in the morning to go to work and you notice you have a flat tire. You just deal with it, you give it no emotion. You just deal with it, accept it. You look at it as, oh, it kept me home, it kept me safe, and you move around it. Okay, you don't look at it as it's stopping you. Okay, so most of the time, when we want our dream life, we're letting resistance, we're letting roadblocks totally stop us. Okay, stop looking at it like that. That's why we're doing this video. You see, most people think if someone is against my desire, they can block my manifestation. Is this true? Do you think this way? Like, especially if you have a significant other, you live with somebody else, because now they have influence over you, okay? Not that they're the ones going to decide what you have or not, but they have influence over you. Meaning that, if you tell them what you want, they could put it down, make fun of you. They could say, no, that's not going to happen. You know what I mean? You're crazy. You know what I mean? It can go many different ways. Okay. But we tend to believe if someone is against my desire, if someone is against what I want, okay, if someone is against, I want to live my dream life, I want to live life on my terms. If someone is against that, they can block it, okay? Meaning like they have power over me when nobody has power over you. And my story, like the videos attached in the description, kind of proves that that's the opposite, okay? I mean, I was clearly against it. Like in my story, I was clearly against the gate. I almost said the wall, but I was clearly against the gate. I've been denying it for months since we've been here, that I didn't want it. And I meant it, you know what I mean? Yet Aeang, now Aang's my girlfriend, didn't abandon her in her picture. I mean, she didn't let it discourage her. Then she didn't look at the discouragement and then quit. Okay, she just kind of moved on from it. She just kind of accepted. I said no. Then she went back to, from now and again, visualizing the gate. Okay, she didn't bring no emotion to it. That's what I'm trying to say. Her assumption didn't collapse. But instead, what did she do? My resistance created the exact situation that made the gate feel necessary. The problem, see what happened? The law created circumstances in my life that created a problem for me. The problem was what? The puppies were going to the road. That wasn't an attack, it was a bridge. It created a situation, an incident that made me realize, hey, we need a gate. All from Aang's imagination creates reality. All from Aang's assumption. And this is important to see. Listen, this is where the meat and potatoes come in. Resistance, delays, and problems, they aren't always signs it's not working. I'll repeat that one more time, because I think that is really powerful. You have to understand resistance, delays, and problems, they aren't always signs that it's not working. Sometimes they're the only believable path your mind will accept. That's why I'm saying when you have resistance, delays, problems, stop looking at it as resistance, as delays, as things I don't like, as problems, as circumstances, as negativity, and just look at it as this is happening for me, not to me. See, that's a different mind frame. Life is happening for you, not to you. It's the same thing in manifesting. Life is happening for you because the laws of the universe will use that resistance, use those issues for your benefit in order for you to get what you want.
Really quick here, friends. Do you want a challenge that's going to make every dream of yours come true?
You see, my friends, the issue is when you start trying to live life on your terms, you're doing everything right. See, that's the problem. That's how you feel. You're trying your hardest, but nothing is changing. Now, in the challenge, there's no fluff, there's no hype. It's just real transformation delivered daily. We are going to the core. We are going to the root cause why things are not working for you. All you got to do is go to the description, click see more. Everything will pop up and you will see the 30-day breakthrough challenge. Click the link and it'll take you right over to that. See, me, I wasn't going to wake up one day and say, I changed my mind, let's build a gate, just because. That wasn't going to happen. I wasn't going to wake up one day and say, let's do it. But my system needed a logical trigger, okay? Consciously, okay? It's like your subconscious mind, the consciousness knows the best how to get you what you want. So it knew I wasn't going to change my mind. But I need something logically to happen in order for me to say, let's build the gate. Okay, and that logical trigger was we have puppies, they're going to the road, now it makes sense. So now the gate makes sense to me because now we got puppies, we got to keep them safe, they're going to the road, and we don't want nothing to happen to them. So now the whole gate makes sense to me that we need to build a gate, we need to build it now. Okay, so what we have to understand, the law found a route. Your assumption found a route to make it happen for Aeang. Okay, so the deeper manifesting lesson here is you don't need a smooth path. You just need a settled state. What's your settled state? Now with Neville Goddard, that's living in the end. Whatever you assume to be true for you, it's going to happen for you, but live in the end. Act as if, and what Aeang did, not knowing what she was doing, she acted as if she already had a gate. Okay, she dwelt therein. She didn't force it. She didn't argue with me. She didn't try to manipulate it. She did none of that. She just stayed in the state, in her state. Okay, listen, the path can look messy. It can look emotional. It can look random. You just randomly got your stuff. You just woke up one day and money fell on your head. It can feel random at times. And still be the perfect bridge. There's always bridge to incidents for you to get what you want. That's what I'm talking about. You know, consciousness, the laws of the universe, imagination, it reorganizes your world to make you get what you want. Even though it looks like there's opposition all around you, it's using your opposition for your benefit. You have to understand this. You have to walk away with this. Okay, now number 4. Okay, we're almost done here. Number 4, no one to change but self. Now, this is Aang's side of thing. This is kind of dealing with Aang's side and my side. Okay, now from an Aang side, from Aang's point of view, okay, no one to change but self equals she didn't try to change me. She didn't try to force it. She didn't argue with me. She didn't like come to me and ask me a million times. She did none of that. Okay, what she did do, she changed her inner position. From I hope he agrees is we have a gate in her imagination. And like I said, I caught her many times. But I would just go outside. I would be working in here. I'll get up, take a break. She would be sitting outside. And I can see her kind of as I'm walking through here, walking through the kitchen and turning to walk outside. I can see her. Okay, that's where we have like a setup right there where she can sit. I can see her directly and she's just looking towards, talking to no one. Nobody's out there with her. She's just looking towards the road, kind of like in a trance a little bit. And I'm like, no, what are you doing? She's like, oh, I'm just thinking about the gate. You know what I mean? Listen, it's not just her, it's you, it's me. Once she occupied, listen, once she occupied her assumption, we have the gate. Okay. Now, the gate could be anything. The gate could be your dream house, your dream car. The gate could be your dream career. You want to be an entrepreneur. The gate could be you want to be a multimillionaire. The gate could be anything. The gate could be symbolism here. Okay. The gate could be anything you want, your intention. You see, once she occupied, we have a gate. My agreement, your agreement, was just one of the props that had to fall into place. Okay. Now, from my side of things, I get a totally different angle. Okay. I saw it for myself to be no. See, I'm the antagonist. No, it's not happening. Bottom line. Okay. Then plus, I'm the money source. So again, when I say no, I'm not going to pay for it. So, it stops with me. Bottom line. Okay. Then listen to this. Then I watch myself become the yes in this situation. Isn't that so weird? I watched myself saying no, and I said no for months. Understand this, for months I said no. Okay. And all of a sudden I was the one that said yes. And I was the one that brought it up. Let's build it because we need to build it for the puppies. Okay. And what that shows you, what that shows me, what it should show you also is something very, very powerful. Is that you're not just the protagonist of your reality. You're also capable of playing someone else's bridge. And that's humbling. Okay. So like we're always wanting something for ourselves, but what I'm meaning here is you're also the antagonist to somebody else, to what they want. You're also being used in order for somebody else to get their assumption, to live their dream life. Okay, in the manifesting world. Okay, you're the protagonist at times. That means you want what you want. You want your dream life, live life your terms. You want your dream house, so forth and so forth. But you also play a part in someone else's dream life, someone else's manifestation. You understand that? And this is kind of me in this scenario. Okay, I was playing a part. Listen, I was playing a part in what Aang wanted. Okay. So what does this mean? It means people around you are not random. All your circumstances you're going through, it's not random. Everybody in your life is not random. Okay. Everybody in your consciousness is not random. It's all interconnected. And sometimes you are the little instrument of someone else's assumption. Isn't that so powerful? You are literally the instrument of someone else's assumption. What someone else is trying to manifest, you play a part in that because you're part of their world. And just like others become instruments of yours, in order for you to get what you want, other people play their part too in the world of consciousness. So the deeper takeaway here is stop obsessing over who is for or against your desire. And this is something this is something maybe you don't do it all the time, but for sure sometimes this is what we get caught up in doing, is that we start obsessing over like who's for me or against me. Okay, and that takes root in our mind, and that becomes a mental block for us. That becomes a block in our own manifestations. Like, stop obsessing over it. Stop obsessing over who is for or against you. Everything's happening for you. Okay. Once this state is accepted, listen, what's law of assumption again? Whatever you assume to be true has to happen for you. Once that is accepted by your subconscious mind, the law will draft whoever it needs, including your supposed opponents, including people against it. Okay, it will work around it. Number 5, what this teaches about your own manifesting. Okay, my whole story here. See, your story with the gate shows you personally a pattern you can trust in others. Let me change the color. 1, and I love these as we sum up the video. If I can, it's not letting me highlight these numbers. But anyway, let's move on. One is you don't have to know the how. Listen to this. Anytime we get into howville, anytime we try to figure things out, that's just a sign of manipulation. It's a sign of force and friction, so we repel it from us. So you don't need to know the how. Your only job is go inside your imagination, live in the in, be the person who already has what you want. That's your only job. That's it. Let the universe do its job. The universe's job is to figure out the how. The how isn't your job. When you start trying to figure out the how, all you do is slow down the whole process. Okay. So you don't have to know the how. See, in my example here, my story is the puppies were the how. You understand? It put a unique situation in. The puppies created the how. No one could have predicted that part. Okay, we didn't think that far ahead. The puppies were just a random thing. Okay, we didn't even have a discussion to get puppies. That just happened randomly. Okay, everything was random if you go back to watch the video, watch the story. Okay, and that's the bridge inventing itself. That's the bridge that needed to happen in order to get the gate. Now, number two is you don't have to convince anyone. You could just stay in the state. That's why Neville Goddard said, your only thing to do is live in the in, dwell therein. Okay. Okay. That's the law of being. You already have what you want. So that's your only job is stay in your imagination, stay in your 4D world. You already have what you want. So behave that way. That's your only job. Okay. You don't have to convince anybody. You don't have to try to convince your significant other, convince your husband or wife, convince your family. You don't have to do any of that. Listen, if you're in this state, the right conversations, the right events, even the right people will have a change of heart, will show up. Okay. Number three, the antagonists are often future allies. That's so powerful. People that you feel that's against your dream life, that against your desires, they often will be your future allies. They often will play a positive part in you getting what you want. They don't have to believe in your vision. Listen, people don't have to believe in your vision. They just need to be part of the scene of consciousness. Okay, they're just part of the scene that's making it happen for you. And number four here is circumstances bow to state, not opinion. I love that. All circumstances you're going through that look like great big mountains, all circumstances bow to your state. It bows to your assumption. It bows to what you believe to be true for you. That's the power you have. That's why Neville Goddard said the power we have possess in our imagination, because the great I am is inside us. That's where our imagination comes from. Okay. Listen, your circumstances has to bow to what you believe. Okay, because that's where the circumstances are coming from. You understand? Like for myself, I had opinions. My opinion was, no, the gate isn't happening. Okay. But to Aeang's state, it didn't matter. To the laws of the universe, it didn't matter what I said. It didn't matter what I believed. It was her state. See, in her state and her assumption, it was already true. The gate already happened. You understand? So the deeper manifesting meaning to all of this, and this is, I think that this is a wrap up right here. Okay. So kind of the walk away to all of this, the deeper meaning is that a fully assumed desire doesn't fight the environment. It quietly rewrites it. Isn't that so true? Listen, I'll reread it one more time for you. A fully assumed desire. What do I mean by that? Remember what law of assumption is. What you assume to be true has to be manifested in your world. So when I say a fully assumed desire is you believe it already true for you. Does that make sense? And you have to understand it doesn't fight the environment. Like Neville said, and I believe I said it in this video, I forget, is everything is effortless. There's no effort. There's no effort to anything. You see, your power that you have, your great power comes when you're very, very calm, you're very in a calm state, Everything is effortless. When you go inside your imagination, it happens naturally, effortlessly, if I could say that word. Okay. Nothing is forced. Okay. That's why, just by the natural law of things, when you go inside your imagination, your assumptions, your imagination, it doesn't fight your environment. It goes around it. And as it goes around it, it quietly rewrites everything. It quietly moves things into place to help you get what you want. Okay. And sometimes, listen, sometimes rewriting looks like this. Random money comes out of nowhere. A sudden urgency happens, and that urgency calls you to get what you want. A problem that forces the decision. Okay, like in my situation, the puppies. We got the puppies. The puppies were random too. Okay, we got the puppies. Then 2 months later, after having puppies, they're going to the road because there's other dogs down there. So they're going to the road and sometimes going in the road. Okay, that created a problem for me. Then that forced me to make a decision we have to build a gate. You understand? Okay. Or the loudest skeptic becoming the loudest supporter. So basically, you have somebody that don't believe in you. You have somebody, it's a roadblock. Somebody is saying no. Then all of a sudden they have a change of heart. Which is exactly what happened to me. Basically, I was like number 3 and 4. I had this problem that I encountered, which was the puppies going to the road. That made me have to make a decision very quickly. Then that made me wake up one day and say, hey, we need to build the gate. But at the same time, I'm number 4 because I was the loudest skeptic in the whole situation. I was the antagonist in the whole situation. I was the one that said, no, we're not going to do it. And it was kind of, no, that's the end of story. I'm not going to discuss it. You know what I mean? That's how it was for months until the puppies came along. You understand? Okay. So I went from, I don't want it to, we should build it. Okay. And what we have to understand is that's not contradiction. That's fulfillment into Aang's desire, into Aang's assumption. Okay. Like I said, as we wrap this up, okay, we're always playing 2 parts. Sometimes, okay, we're the protagonist. Okay. We want what we want, and other people play a part in order for us to get what we want. And other times, we're the person in somebody else's assumption, that we're the ones helping them get what they want. And this was Aang's situation. That was the whole point of the story, my friends. But as we wrap this up, as the video is coming to a conclusion, that the whole point of this video was just to kind of pick apart my story, but really to communicate that stop looking at circumstances, stop letting your circumstances stop you, and finally realize that life is happening for you. The circumstances that we perceive that as a negative, it's only our perception. Okay. And just like in my story, just like when we kind of went through this and picked it apart on a manifesting standpoint, on a consciousness standpoint, is even if something we perceived as a negative, it's rewritten in consciousness. It's redesigned and it's using it for you. That's why I say life is happening for you. Okay. It's only our perception of things. Okay. When you start looking at what's in your 3D world, you start looking at things you don't like, circumstances you don't like. You got a flat tire today, or it's another person that disagrees with you. It's just a prop. Okay. It can change. It can alter. Okay. It's not permanent. Okay. And that's what I want you to walk away with. And because a lot of people, the reason why I did this video is because a lot of people throw in a towel. A lot of people, once they have one negative circumstance, they throw in a towel, say, this isn't going to work. I can't see how in the world I'm going to get my dream house, dream car. So, I just stop. Okay. Makes sense. But what Neville said is that you got to stay in your assumption. You got to persist in your assumption, because that's the whole point of law of assumption. That's the whole point of a law of attraction. It all connects. It's all the same thing. Okay. But whatever you assume to be true for you has to happen to you in your world. But what Neville said is he's never seen the law of assumption fail. Why did he say that? He's never seen it fail. He said that in his live lectures, that he'd never seen it fail. He's never seen it fail in his whole career. Is that whatever you assume to be true for you has to happen to you, it has to come to you. Okay, but he did say you have to persist in your assumption, because this is what he knew. This is a secret, is that he knew that in the beginning, when you want your dream house, you don't assume it to be true yet. And that's the only reason why it's not coming to you, because you don't assume it to be true yet. But he did know if you persist in your assumption, one of these days you're going to wake up and you're going to assume it to be true. You're going to totally believe that you can have your dream house, and it's going to happen for you. Because at that point, that's the law of assumption. Whatever you assume to be true for you has to come into your 3D world. Okay, that's why he said persist until it becomes a fact. And it will 100% become a fact in your 3D world. But other than that, my friends, this was a longer video than I thought. It's almost like 40 minutes there. But anyway, comment below, share your stories below. I love to kind of hear your stories. If you have a similar story like mine, tell your story below, because it helps out everybody. That's the whole point. This is a community. It's about helping out everybody. And sometimes stories help out, because especially stories kind of almost like mine, where you feel like there's a roadblock, and how that roadblock really plays a part into you getting what you want. Okay, you getting your assumption. Okay, but share your stories down below. Other than that, remember, I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.